Hey, this is Brian Evans with thefirstdeal.com, where we'll help you close your very first real estate investing deal or your first 100 deals. Go to thefirstdeal.com to get my free seed to learn how to invest in real estate the right way, and go from there. We can talk about partnering on deals and a whole bunch of other great stuff. It's Monday morning. It's a cold, chilly Monday morning. It's 16 degrees here in Lexington, Kentucky, and old man winter is here. I just left a seller meeting where I met and talked with a seller about buying their house. So I just wanted to talk about that with you and share that story with you. So here's what happened. This is a seller that actually called from one of our television commercials. She came into our office. I met with her personally. It was a good meeting, and I offered to her to do possibly a lease option or a rent-to-own, where I would buy the house from them on a rent-to-own, lease-to-own, and put somebody else into the house, cover their payment, and then collect a greater payment from my tenant and purchasing it that way versus paying all cash for their property, writing a check, etc. And the reason why is because they owe more than what I'm willing to pay for that house if I were to pay for it in full and write a check for it. So I offered a lease option at the time. She was interested but decided not to move forward, and she went ahead and she listed the house with a realtor for a couple months, and long story short, she wasn't able to get it sold, so she gave us a call back. So she gave us a call back, and I spoke to her again. She said she wanted to talk about and she was ready to move forward on the lease to own option that I presented to her at our meeting. So we set up a meeting for me to go out and see her house, because I have not seen her house yet, and the offers that I made were based on the numbers only, not seeing her house. So went out and saw her house today, and it's a house in an area that honestly is not overly desirable, to be honest with you. It's a lower income neighborhood. It's a Section 8 renter type of neighborhood, and I don't do Section 8 renters. It's just not the line of business that I want to be in. It's just a harder, a lot of people swear by it. For me, it's just not something I like to play ball in. I like to do rent-to-owns if I'm going to rent a property out, get greater income cash flow from it, have better quality tenants, and that's the game that I like to play in. So I went over there, saw her house, walked through it, and again, it's not in a good area. It was in very rough condition. And putting any money in this house, you would not get your investment back unless you bought this house for absolutely pennies on the dollar. But she can't sell it for pennies on the dollar, even though I'm sure she would love to if that's all she owed on it, because she owes more than what this house is worth. So here's what we decided we're going to do. Her sister lives with her. Her sister and her sister's boyfriend lives with her and her husband in this house, and have been renting from her and paying her monthly fee for 7 years or so. So what she decided is she's willing to work out an agreement with her sister for her sister to buy the house from her, the seller, under a rent-to-own for about $500 a month, which would cover her monthly payment on this house. And what she wants to do is she wants to move. The reason why she's selling, and it's important for you to understand and find out why somebody wants to sell, so that way you can better address and help them solve their problem, is she wants to move out of this neighborhood, and I don't blame her. She has 4 children, and she's looking for a house in a better area that her kids can grow up in and go to better schools, etc. So she's looking. She would love to buy another house, but she knows that if this house is still on her credit, she's probably not going to be able to get another loan for a new house and have this loan. So she is willing to do a rent-to-own purchase when she buys another house, which is right up our alley, because that's what we do as well. So I proposed to her this. I said, listen, I'm going to take my investor hat off now, and I'm going to put my friend hat, and I'm going to talk to you as if you're my sister-in-law or something, because here's what you probably need to do. And again, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not giving you any realtor or any legal advice, but this is what I would do if I were you. If you want to move out of here, I would work out an agreement with your sister for your sister to pay you monthly for this house, her and her boyfriend, to continue to live in this house, so that way it at least covers your outgoing payment under a rent-to-own, and setting it up to where their goal on renting it from you would be to get a new loan at some point in the near future, rent-to-own. Worst case scenario is if they ever don't pay, or if they decide to move out, or if they decide they don't want to buy this house, then you are still responsible for that payment on this property, that mortgage. She understood. She's willing to do a rent-to-own. I said, we have a lot of rent-to-own properties. Perhaps we have something that will meet your needs and allow you to move and go from there. She says, okay, great. So I gave her our website where she could look and see what properties we have available. And I asked her, the conversation turned into rather than me buying her house, she is now wanting to buy one of our houses, is how this whole conversation took a turn. So I asked her, I said, what's the most you can afford to put down for a house? What's the most you can afford monthly if you did not have this monthly payment, etc.? She told me she's got about $10,000 down and she can afford between $800 to $1,000 a month. So those are actually pretty decent numbers for a rent-to-own tenant. So I told her, listen, we can help you out. We can work things out with your sister, connect you with our attorney to help get the agreements in place between you and your sister and her boyfriend to rent this house out from you with the option to buy it. And if you want one of our houses and like one of our houses, we'll be happy to work with you under a rent-to-own, so that way you can get into a new house, move from this one, get into a better area for you and your family and your children. And at some point in the future, the goal would be for you to buy this house from us. And if you ever don't buy, then any money you put down and anything you do to this house is non-refundable. So she understands, and I explained that to her very clearly. So long story short, what I've done with this seller, and the primary takeaway you need to get from this video, is you need to plant positive seeds. You need to make sure that you always leave the door open with somebody you're doing business with. Don't burn bridges, and keep the door open. Plant good seeds, because if you plant those good seeds, when time and circumstances changes in someone's life that you've discussed doing business with, then very likely they will think of you and come back to you when their situation changes in such a way where they now need you and want to do business with you. So that's a great thing to do. So make sure you plant good, positive seeds. Make sure you keep the door open. Make sure you can be flexible to help the seller solve their problem, and do it in such a way where it allows you to still make a profit. And I explained that to her in great detail. I said, obviously, if I can help you and get a new house and get this house payment covered and still find a way to make a profit, then that's the perfect business relationship, and she agreed. So we shook hands. We're going to look into possibly getting her into a rent-to-own in one of our houses, and helping assist her and connecting her with our attorney to get a rent-own set up between her and her sister and her sister's boyfriend, and just make it an all-around win-win situation. So make sure you plant good, positive seeds. Make sure you try to help people, even if you can't buy their house or sell a house to them. It's very important, because as I was walking out the door, she said, man, this was just the greatest conversation. I really didn't know what to expect, and I was nervous. I want to find another place to live, but I didn't know what to do. So just by me speaking to her one-on-one and helping her understand how she can solve her problems and letting her know that there is hope here was a great way to start the week. So she said to me as I was leaving, she says, I will refer everybody I know to you guys for selling a house or for buying a house, and I really appreciated that. And again, it's just planting good seeds, positive goodwill, trying to help the seller or buyer solve their problem, and do it in such a way where you have as little risk as possible but still can make a good profit. And that's what this business is all about. It's the best business in the world. So if you want to learn how to invest in real estate the right way and do deals such as this and help good people and make a lot of money in the process, then go to thefirstdeal.com, get my free CD, start right there, and everything else will fall into place. But you got to do that first. So go to thefirstdeal.com right now. This is Brian Evans, making an awesome week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.